Good morning. Today we'll be discussing the use of Bromo dragonfly. It is time we deal with the problems that come with the drug. We can start by educating ourselves on the drug. Today we have two guests who will help teach us about Bromo dragonfly. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Horeff and Rachael Peters. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. I'm very happy to help raise awareness for the problems of using Bromo dragonfly.
First, we should learn about the history of Bromo dragonfly. Dr. Horeff, could you give us some information on that?
Of course. The drug was first used as a research chemical in rats at Purdue in the mid-1990s. Bromo dragonfly was first synthesized in 1998 by Matthew Parker. The first report was in 2001. Then in 2008, Bromo dragonfly was identified in Italy, Norway, Belgium, and Finland.
Very interesting. Could you tell us about the medical uses for the drug?
There's actually no current approved indications for Bromo dragonfly in human pharmacology.
Okay. What classification does Bromo dragonfly belong to, and what schedule is the drug classified as?
Bromo dragonfly is a very potent synthetic hallucinogen, but Bromo dragonfly is currently unscheduled in the United States because it's fairly a new drug, and the FDA has not picked up on it yet.
Interesting.
It's also important to note that a few milligrams is life-threatening. Slow onsets of high can result in overdose and death. Effects last up to 2 to 3 days.
Interesting. Thank you, Dr. Horeff, for your help in educating us on the drug. Now, Rachael, a recovering user of Bromo dragonfly, could you tell us more about the drug? What are the different forms of Bromo dragonfly, and how can it be administered?
The different forms of Bromo dragonfly are white powder in the purest form. It can also be colored, or it can be dissolved to be a liquid. The other forms are tablets and blotter paper. Bromo dragonfly can be administered through oral ingestion.
Do you have any street names for the drug?
Some of the street names are DOB, dragonfly, fly, BDF, spamfly, bee-fly, and magic.
Would you mind sharing an experience you had while using Bromo dragonfly?
Of course not. So, when I used low doses of Bromo dragonfly, my experience was very light and pleasant. I felt speedy and had very mild visuals. I also really wanted to sleep. But my experience with high doses was very different. I mixed 300 milligrams of carefully weighed powdered Bromo dragonfly with 300 milliliters of vodka. I had very strong hallucinations this time. I also experienced some negative side effects. I was nauseous, had stomach upsets, had a bad headache, and was also very anxious. The side effects lasted about 3 days.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Are there any more short-term or long-term effects from using the drug?
Yes. Some other short-term side effects include vomiting, high blood pressure, body temperature fluctuations, muscle tension, seizures, severe and frightening hallucinations, panic attacks, paranoia, heart problems, convulsions, and even death. And currently there are not any long-term side effects known because the drug is fairly new and the DEA is still studying the long-term effects.
Thank you. Can you explain to us what physical and psychological dependence of a drug means?
Yes. Physical dependence is when withdrawal symptoms are apparent when the use of the drug is discontinued. A person is physically dependent on a drug if they don't feel their body can function normally without the use of the drug. Psychological dependence is the dependence of the mind on the use of the drug that leads to psychological withdrawal symptoms. Some of those include cravings, irritability, insomnia, depression, and paranoia.
Can you become physically or psychologically dependent on Bromo dragonfly?
It's not known that people become physically dependent on Bromo dragonfly, but it is very common to become psychologically dependent on Bromo dragonfly. Many users become psychologically addicted to Bromo dragonfly because they are addicted to the psychological effects of the hallucination.
So how did you recover from being psychologically dependent on Bromo dragonfly?
I attended EPOC Counseling Center to get over my addiction.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us, and thank you, Dr. Horeff, for educating us on the drug.
Of course.
We were happy to help.
I hope everyone learned a lot from today's discussion on Bromo dragonfly. If you are currently suffering from an addiction to Bromo dragonfly, please visit a rehabilitation center. One option is EPOC Counseling Center. It's located at 1107 North Point Boulevard, number 205, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. You can call the center at 410-284-3070. Another option is Beacon of Hope Recovery Community Center, located at 2828 Lock Raven Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21218. You can reach the center by calling 410-889-4673. Thank you and good afternoon.